Welcome to video 9 of Learn to Read Music Without Playing an Instrument. Today we continue looking at key signatures. We will look at the flat key signatures that are made from flat symbols. Just to know ahead of time, this is just an introduction. Learning key signatures is something that takes a lot of repetition. If you are learning to play an instrument or learning to sing by reading music, you would learn this material over many months, perhaps a few years. Also, I am not going to sit here and drill flashcards with you. Flashcards for key signatures and other musical symbols are readily available. I didn't see any reason to create my own when there's so much already out there. So if you want to practice, sources are there. Otherwise, let's just get into the introduction. Okay, so let's review. Where is the key signature placed? The key signature comes between the clef and the time signature. In this image, you can see that the clef, we have a grand staff, so we have the G and the F clef, and the time signature is a common time symbol, which is equivalent to 4/4 time. We have nothing in the key signature spot, so what does a blank key signature tell us? It means that all the pitches are their bass pitches, their normal pitches, their natural pitches. So we are in the key of C major or A minor. What is this symbol? It's a flat. Yep, just checking in. Okay, so here we have our first flat key signature. When you have a flat key signature, the flat shows which pitch is flat throughout the entire piece of music. So here we see a flat on the B line. That means that B will be B flat through the entire piece of music. We write a key signature instead of just indicating which notes are flat right there in the music, because it saves time, especially, a long time ago when these were being written by hand, when scores were being written by hand. We could just indicate this up front and then not have to worry about it. It also makes it easier to read because there's less visual clutter as you're reading through the music. So here we see one flat, which, as you've seen, is the key of F major or D minor. Now, why B is the flat, the pitch that is flatted when the key is F major or D minor, that gets into more advanced music theory. You'll see that as the flats go on, there isn't a direct relationship immediately obvious to the flat plus the key signature. But for now, just focus on learning which key signatures equal which major key, at least. If minor key is too much, just be aware it exists and then don't worry about memorizing that. As you learn more about music theory and scales and so on, it will start to make sense why the flats are what they are. All right, we're going to run through a lot of this. We have two flats, which is B flat major or G minor. So notice that the flat that is closest to the clef is in exactly the same position as when there's only one flat. So as we add flats to key signatures, the previous flats don't change. We just keep on adding to the right. Here we have three flats, E flat major or C minor. So why is this E flat major and not just E major? If we look, we can see that from the previous key signature, there is a flat on the E space. Because there's a flat on the E space, that means the E pitches are flatted throughout all the music, so we have E flats, which makes this the key of E flat instead of E natural. For flats, we have A flat major and F minor. Again, I wasn't sure if I should include the minors or not because just memorizing stuff is hard. It's tedious. Not hard, just tedious. But I wanted to at least introduce that there's a major minor connection, and you will see minor in various places, so I just kind of wanted to introduce it. But if it's too much, just focus on the majors. Focus on the majors. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flats, D flat major or B flat minor. Again, this is D flat major because we have a flat on the D line, also B flat minor because we have a flat on the B line. 6 flats, G flat major and E flat minor or E flat minor. All right, take a minute to be overwhelmed by how many flats there are here. All right, let's work through this. There is a trick to telling which key we are in, even though there are a whole bunch of flats and the most recently added flat isn't on the line or space that it's the name of the key. What we look at is the second most recently added or the second rightmost. So I know it can be a little hard to tell because the accidentals, the flats, are staggered. But if we look at this, the most recently added flat, the one that's the most to the right as you're looking at the piece of music, the one that is closest to the time signature is on the C space. If we move back to the left, the next one that is next closest to the time signature is on the G line. So we know that this is G flat major. E flat minor, that's more advanced theory. Just G flat major. All right. Here we have 7 flats. C flat major and A flat minor. C flat major, A flat minor. To review, why is the key C flat and A flat? C flat major, A flat minor instead of plain C or A natural? Right, because there are flats in the line or space for those pitches. So the bonus material has some different illustrations. The worksheets, there's a lot of worksheets or a lot of exercises in the worksheets going over key signatures, the flat key signatures in this case. But let's practice. What would you expect the key signature to be just from reading this piece of the title of this piece of music? Hopefully you would think that it would be B flat major, because that's what it says. And B flat major is 2 flats. Okay, what about this piece? E flat major, of course, which is 3 flats. All right, what key signature does this piece have? And as extra practice, you could pause the video and practice naming the pitches and also the note values as you go across. This key signature is A flat major, also F minor. All right, next time we will learn the sharp key signatures. I know it feels like a lot, but as you actually work with music, it makes sense. It's just like learning to read. Sometimes there are things that just feel really hard, but maybe we don't remember because it was so long ago that we learned to read. We will get there. With practice, you will get there. And if not, if it's not important to you right now, just know that this exists. There are easier things coming, I think easier. And you are really on a really good start to reading music. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I am so happy you are learning to read music.